everyone. Welcome. I'd like to, welcome all of you here. We are here for a very specific reason today. Uh, we are here to talk about that very, very big word that scares all of us. That C word that really nobody wants to take. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to acknowledge it. We always think that this is not something that can happen to us. That is cancer. Like I said earlier yesterday in my short video that I shared, there's about 27 million people at the moment in the country suffering or fighting cancer. Right now, at the moment, there are 13 lakh people that are getting added to this every single year. This number is dramatically rising. But when we say the word cancer, we instantly think about death. We don't, somehow we are blocked, we can't think about anything else. All we think about is cancer is equal to death. But however, that's not always the case. There's a lot of amazing, brave warriors that we have who've shown us that cancer can be fought. It's a battle that can be won. With the right checks, with the right support system, with the right attitude, with the right conditions, it can be treated. Today, I'm going to introduce my first guest on the show. We have with us the original pop star, Pratichee. Pratichee honored that she can come here to share her story and her journey and her battle with cancer. So, Pratichee, you welcome. You've
Thank
been
you for
really
having me,
brave to
Lavina.
come out. You've been really, really brave to come out and speak. So, tell us. Let's just start. What has your journey been like? Let's start from the very beginning.
Uh,
2011, if I'm not mistaken.
2011, that's right. So I know this month of October is dedicated to breast cancer awareness, but I would love to use this opportunity not just to talk about my bout with breast cancer, but with the fact that in 2011, I was also diagnosed with a liposarcoma. And I don't want to bore you all with too many details, but in a nutshell, I had no symptoms. I was absolutely healthy, fine, very active. The only few kind of complaints that I had, and they were rather shallow complaints because every time I stood on the weighing scale, I was putting on weight. And I was like, सही कहते हैं शादी के बाद ना वजन बढ़ता ही है. So I was blaming शादी से लेकर everything कि oh he's making me eat more, that's why I have put on the weight and blah blah blah. And I was working out, and in my sleep, when I would sleep in the night, I would be restless because my back, my spinal cord used to hurt, my spine used to hurt. Never making any sort of correlation that these two are related. So I went to an orthopedic surgeon saying that, doctor, I'm having back pain when I sleep, and when I'm up and about in the day, I'm absolutely fine. So anyway, as the story unfolded, went for a checkup. I was in the midst of a 5-city tour for a music tour with, for just traveling abroad and all of that. And when I came back, I got a test done and I went for a sonography, all of that. And finally, I got to know there was a tumor, which was to the tune of just shy of 6 kgs in my abdominal cavity. And the orthopedic surgeon was not the right person to obviously go to, but even their minds are not open that it could be something else. All that he told me is, हाँ थोड़ा stretches कर लो, ये कर लो, and you should be fine. And these are the things that I want to try and tell people. Just because you have a certain symptom and you go, thinking this is the doctor I need to go to, it's not necessary that that doctor is going to figure it out for you. You need to keep your mind open. You need to have a conversation that can it be something else? And it was completely something else.
Yeah.
It was the weight of the tumor, which was on my backbone, that I would be so restless in my sleep. That is what was making me so restless is my sleep. Anyways, as life continued, I got it surgically removed. I went through a lot of physiotherapy, and I was under medication for 5 years, on an antibiotic for 5 years, to the point I have developed an allergy to that antibiotic right now. I cannot take that antibiotic anymore. because I was on it for 5 years every day. And anyway, as time passed, I was back on stage within a month of my surgery, and 8 years passed, and I did not miss a single checkup of mine. And uh, should I just come jump to 2019 then? Uh,
No, I mean, yeah,
yeah. So
so as I understand, you got this surgically removed and it was out of
clear
your system.
out of my
It was
system.
clear.
I lost my spleen in the surgery only because of the sheer size of the tumor.
Right.
All my organs were squashed because I'm naturally a thin person. I'm a
Small.
small
Yeah.
built person.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
tumor was so big that it had
Yeah.
pushed all my organs to the right, you know. So when they were trying to extricate the tumor from the abdominal cavity, the surgical instrument nicked my spleen. So that is something they had to finally sacrifice and remove. So I'm not. That's why I was on the antibiotics for 5 years, because it was to strengthen my immunity, because the spleen in adulthood takes care of your immunity and all of that. So
Yeah.
and it's my stupid, silly joke, but I love saying it. I might be spleenless, but I ain't spineless.
Your attitude is like shining through, and that is so amazing, that's just really amazing. This positivity that you're actually, giving out. You can even laugh about it, is a huge thing in itself.
But
The
no,
fact
what
that you can
else
laugh.
to do, Lavina? It's the only way. I'm telling you, I can find humor in the darkest of things. That's the best way to deal with.
Yeah, that's like a serious virtue. Many people do not have that, and that's it. So, at what stage was this diagnosed? This
Like I
first
said, like because I was a
tumor.
like so the liposarcoma is a very different kind of tumor. It is called. I had to go through a supra surgery. Like I have got like a 12-inch cut in my abdomen. Like I have a scar. It's pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
So of course I make up stories about it, saying that I went and fought a war in Bosnia and stuff like that. so, uh, so uh, it's not graded in terms of, it's like like in breast cancer and other stages you have the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. This is
Right.
liposarcoma is a tumor that is of the fatty cells. So
Okay.
it's graded differently. So it was a high grade tumor, let's call it a high grade tumor.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky and blessed that it was still inside a capsule. It had not
Yeah.
gotten out of the capsule. So though it was growing in size,
Yeah.
it was not out of the
It was
capsule.
restrained, sort of.
So it had not infiltrated my other organs by spreading, only because it was still inside.
Yeah.
So it was a high grade tumor.
So
So
you could say that you detected it still in time,
So,
right?
as the doctor said, like people who are overweight with, like, from the past, people and other patients and all of that, it's only because I was thin and because I was so active and so worried about the way I was, I noticed the thickening of my girth
Yeah.
is why that I even went to a doctor. When people are overweight, this tumor is such a very sly tumor. It's growing silently inside because, like I said, I had no symptoms really. I was not like, I didn't have a cold, cough, fever. I didn't have headaches, nothing. So life technically was all fine. It was just the backaches that I was dealing with in the nights when I was sleeping. So it's a very slight tumor. So when people are slightly overweight, when they have more room, like where, at least from the area where my tumor was growing,
Like
you
me.
can't even tell. So there
Yeah.
are many patients who don't know till a very, very late stage.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
that's when you realize there are so many things which are actually hand in hand that actually help you, come to a conclusion as to what has happened to you.
And then let's come now to 2019.
So 2019, so now as the years unfolded after my first diagnosis,
Did you get back to work? I'm sorry to
yes,
interrupt you. I just wanted to ask you, did you get back
within
to
a
work?
month of my surgery, after my recuperation,
Yeah.
I had, like, I can't begin to thank my family and my friends, my husband, my parents, my sisters, like they have just stood by me like a rock. The way they have helped me and supported me in bouncing back. I was back on stage within a month. I was performing on stage in a month. Of course, I
Amazing.
had to wear like a corset around my stomach because the stitches were still raw
Yeah.
from the inside.
Yeah.
But having said that,
But
I was back on stage and I was grooving.
amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what happened? What was
So,
the next?
of course, as any cancer patient is recommended to do so, we have to have continuous follow-ups after, and every time you have a follow-up and a checkup of a sonography or a chest X-ray and all of that. I was extremely diligent, and that's the kind of person that I am. Did not miss a single checkup, nothing. Went to whenever the doctor said come in 5 days, I would be there in 5 days. If he said come after a year, I was there after a year.
Yeah.
So 8 years have passed with me not missing a single checkup. And in 2019, in the month of April, I had my follow-up and I
Yeah.
told him, I said, doctor, I have never had a mammogram done. And I feel as, I should get one done. And I feel there's something, I can feel something. And my doctor, my oncologist, from the previous case of my cancer, he tells me, no, you're too young. You're premenopausal. You don't need to get a mammogram done. And I was like, and I was super thrilled. I was like, my doctor is telling me not to get a mammogram done. I've heard horror stories about mammograms. I was like, yay, my doctor's given me a green signal, no problem. But having said that, after 2 months passed, there was like a niggling doubt in the back of my head that no, I need to address this. There is something wrong. So I went in the month of August of 2019 to my gynecologist, and she checked me up and she said, yes, I do feel something in your left breast. And I
Okay.
think you should get a mammogram done. And she then recommended a mammogram, and I finally got it done. And my worst fears were confirmed. It was malignant tumor, but it's only because I caught it early that I caught it at stage 1. So I caught it so early that they
Yeah.
were able to excise it, but it was malignant. But I was just blessed that I again caught it early. But now the big reveal of this story. Now I went back to my previous oncologist and I told him, I said, doctor, I had brought it up in April, and the worst of my fears have come true, and I do have a tumor. So he tells me, okay, you have history from before. So I suggest you get a PET scan done. So of course I went for a PET scan. And when I got the PET scan done to find out the details of my breast cancer, and when the results came of my PET scan, I finally got to know that my old tumor was also back.
Oh my goodness.
So in all those 8 years of what checkup, I don't know what checkup they were doing, because I was getting the sonography done on time. I was getting my chest x-rays done on time. He was physically testing me and checking me. So he dropped the ball. Now, so I got so angry at that point of time when I got to know that, when I got to know that my previous cancer is also back. And I was like, what was I doing all this while, What
Exactly.
was he doing all this while? And then, you start, you want to blame him. And then, as time has passed, I would like to believe more mature about it, or, slightly more accepting of what happened. And I realize it's not his fault alone. What needs to be taken into account is the fact that it's the kind of machines they are using at the hospital. Who's sitting behind that x-ray machine? What is that doctor reading? How
Right.
experienced is that doctor?
Right.
But if that doctor is giving the clear chit of the x-ray, is what this doctor is reading finally and passing on the message to me, my oncologist telling me that everything is fine. So there are several people who dropped the ball. And one of my biggest angst about this is that I don't think in India we have very strong laws to protect the patient like this. If I'm like, we watch so much of television and, so many movies and stuff like that. If this was something which would have happened in the US, we would have sued the medical, the hospital, or, the doctors, whatever. There is
Right.
liability there. There is no liability
Right.
here, because here now you're just focused on trying to get better. That what we did as a family decision, find the next best doctor, change the hospital, move on. We need to get better. But I feel this is something we really need to talk about more. There needs to be something more, just apart from the fact that we need to get better. There need to be laws to protect the patient also.
Absolutely correct. But on this note, Pratichee, didn't you ever think of going abroad and getting treated? Did that
So
happen, or did it not come in your mind, or were you not able to? What was it?
sorry, you will have to repeat that. I lost you completely.
Did you not think about going abroad at any point in time to get treated?
So, when we were doing our research of, which is the right doctor to go to next, we have scoured the, all the medical fraternity. Everyone asked every doctor, this friend, that friend, and that was an option. But I feel, and in India, we also have a great medical setup. It's not like we don't have good doctors. We have fantastic doctors. So finally, we zeroed on two doctors. One is a breast cancer specialist. He and he has in fact studied from London and all of that. So he is he only specializes in one kind of cancer.
Okay.
And then for my liposarcoma, I had a different specialist. He's a Padma Shri. So I can't, I was lucky and fortunate to have had two great doctors on board. And like I said, I'm at a I'm at a point right now where I'm slightly more at peace. So I don't want to, diss my previous doctor too much beyond a point.
Right.
Uh, there's something called human error,
Yeah.
and I will just try and tell everyone, probably he dropped the ball because of human error, because finally doctors are also human. And that's what I want people to understand and know. Doctors are there to take care of us, but they are humans. They are not God. They are human.
Absolutely.
Bound to happen that
Absolutely.
kind of things can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I know this is actually, you're not the first person. There are multiple people who I have been speaking to who have been very, miffed with the medical system or the way things are. Even though there are amazing doctors in India, a lot of people have not got, you can say they haven't gotten the attention, maybe because of whatever reasons it may be. It could be that they are coming from a different segment of society, and therefore they've not gotten the attention, or there are various reasons. But you're not the first. There's multiple people who have spoken about this to me also.
That's right.
So yeah. All right. So now, what is your current situation? Are you cancer free at the moment, or are you still undergoing some sort of treatment?
So I'm absolutely cancer free right now,
Touch
but
wood.
of course I am under medication. Yes, touch wood.
Yes, touch wood.
I am under medication. I am I've gone through radiation, of course, and I am under uh, hormonal therapy. So they have basically induced menopause in my system, in my body, because I'm too young to go through it naturally right now. Because ovarian cancer has a direct correlation with breast cancer. So so yeah, so they have induced menopause. So I am going through all the symptoms of menopause. Hourly, suddenly, while I'm talking to you, I might start sweating. Please bear with me. So, uh, yeah. Other than that, I am cancer free. I am absolutely fine. And sorry, a friend of mine is leaving.
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, but yeah, I'm physically active. My routine is back to normal. I work out, I eat well. I love to eat, in fact. And yeah, everything. I'm cancer free today.
Touch wood.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
I have
That's great to hear.
I am as regular with my checkups and follow-ups like I used to be
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
and that continues.
Amazing. All right. So at this moment, let me just also introduce our next guest, who again I'm extremely honored to have with us today. Uh, you know, uh, so people did come up. They were like, you've got two celebrities to speak about this, and I was like, dude, the more the merrier. Yeah, the more the merrier. This subject is so important to be talked about that one is not enough, and two is absolutely amazing. So my second guest for today is Sonali Bendre. We all know her, we all love her, but what I love about her is that one line that I keep reading: "Switch on the sunshine," and that is something that I've myself also started to believe in whatever way it is. A little bit of sunshine one day at a time, Sonali. That has been really inspirational to millions of people. That one line of yours, it's really made a difference. And thank you so much. Thank you for coming here, and really happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. Hi, Pratichee. It's lovely to be here and be in the same frame. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Um, Lavina, thank you for this opportunity. And
Thank you. Thank you.
honestly, I wouldn't have met Pratichee on just on. Everybody has busy lives, and I don't know where our paths have crossed. So this is a great opportunity, and I love it when I can meet people who have gone through it, because every experience only gives you an idea and just teaches you something else, and there's just so much about it which is unknown, that having a conversation with somebody who's gone through it just can draw light on something that you had not thought of. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope your viewers get enjoy what they are hearing. Enjoy may not be the right word, but like get what they want out of this conversation. But for me, being able to have this conversation with Pratichee being there, it's interesting. And I've been listening to this conversation while I was waiting, and I mean, what an amazing journey you've been through, Pratichee. I mean, it's amazing what you've been through, and the length of it, and really, how do you do it? How do you keep at it?
Right back at you, Sonali. Right back at you.
So Sonali, we've heard Pratichee's journey. We've heard her first symptoms, and what made her actually go to a doctor in the first place. Tell us your story. What is it that what made you get up and go get tested, checked? What was it? Was it a symptom? Was it a pain? What did you feel?
So for me, it was the other way around actually, because I've been going through the symptoms for a while, and it was just not understood. And I agree with one part with what she says, that again, my husband does feel very strongly about doctors not getting it at that point of time, and I don't blame him. It's for him, But for where I'm concerned, I get where she's coming from, because it they're human beings and things happen, and nobody is intending for it to happen, but it happens. The fact is that what I was told was that, listen, the way your lifestyle is and the way you've been, you're the last candidate that we would have imagined that what the symptoms that you were going through were of cancer. It just didn't occur. I mean, my doctors were genuinely in shock that I had got it. And so, I carried that shock forward, saying that how could I get it? And as I go through it, and I want to, because, we are talking about early detection saves lives. And, that the biggest part of that is to understand that it can happen to anybody. It has really, at this point of time, nobody can really pinpoint and say it's the lifestyle, it's this, it's that. Yes, your lifestyle makes a difference. It aggravates it. It can happen earlier. Recovery is more difficult. And getting your energy back, and kind of actually what do I say? Being cancer free and all of that kind of gets affected by how healthy your lifestyle is and all of that. But if you lead a healthy lifestyle, that does not mean that you might not get it. There are so many factors in play which we really don't know as yet. Even doctors really don't know what all those factors are. At one point, it's like it's genetic, and sometimes it is genetic. And like in my case, it was eventually when we went into extended family, into detailed analysis of it, because I was like, what is happening and why is it happening? I, of course, went abroad, and when I got my genetic testing done, and when I came to know this was genetic, then it was time to let the rest of the extended family all across the world know, because everybody needed to understand that this is what it is, and it's best to get tested to understand, are they going to be have they got that gene, and so hence do they need to be more careful. And we did do that, and we did see a pattern to it. And this kind of data, which is not really available too much in India, because I think only Tata Memorial has been doing that sort of genetic testing, and not too many people come out and tell or share this data. So there's a stigma attached to it. But the more data that you have about it, the more the doctors are going to be able to analyze it. More research is going to be possible. And so the more we share and we talk about it, if it has happened to somebody in your family, it's best to check it out. Like you come to know, your, like in my family, I have it, nobody else. None of my sisters have that gene. So it's not necessary that you are going to have it just because somebody else has it. But if you know it is there, then these symptoms, the moment you see symptoms, you know to be on top of it. Now, the thing about early detection saves lives, it's such an important word, is because if you're aware, if you know that this can happen to anybody, so if you take symptoms or even not, just listen to your body and you take it seriously. Like when Pratichee said that, though her doctors had said, no, it's all fine, she felt that something was not right. And that she's an artist, she's probably a person who listens to her body, and she knew her body was telling her that something is not right. And maybe that is the reason why that she listened to her body, and that she followed through and went and said that, no, I know you're saying no, but I feel something is not right. And hats off to her to be so aware. It's not normal, or how do I say, not all of us are not so evolved. She is evolved enough to be listening to her body, and that has probably saved her life. So all of us need to understand our bodies, listen to our bodies, and sometimes, just take that extra step. A lot of times we say that, oh, this doctor is just making us do tests. That's a common thing that you hear most of the time.
Yeah.
Listen, rather than saying, oh, look, I did a test, it was negative, look, my money was wasted. I think we all need to look at it and say that, you know what, I did this test and it was negative. Shukar hai Bhagwan ka bach gaye.
Yeah, thank goodness.
You really need to take it like that, because the way Western medicine is, which is what we are following right now, because we can say, and I'm sure there was a lot of it that was there earlier, but at this point of time, what we have that can save our life is the Western medicine. And Western medicine, the thing is cause and effect, or detection. Tests have to prove it, and only then that medicine is given according to that test, and then it's worked on. So that's the way this medication works, and this kind of medicine, Western medicine works. So then that means testing becomes important, and being aware of it and going in for this detection early, and kind of detecting it early, catching it early, you can save your life. Because like Pratichee said, when you catch it in an early stage, there is like so much of a chance of recovering. It needn't be, as you say, the big word, the cancer, or the big C means death. No, it doesn't have to mean death. If you detect it early, if you are healthy, if you go about what needs to be done, you can kind of extend your life.
Yeah. But as I understand, Sonali, I don't think you detected early, right?
I was at fourth stage when we detected, and it had spread all over my body. Yeah.
And you didn't have any symptoms. You didn't know. You didn't feel anything. There was just nothing.
I did have symptoms, and like I said, they kept saying it's perimenopausal. And I did say that, but it's a bit early because, genetic wise, if you see in my family, this is a bit early. But then, I thought that maybe GMO food, pollution in the air, so many variants. So maybe I am menopausing early, like my mother or my aunts or whatever. So I didn't think it to be something that was so out of the world, because, it was not like they were telling me I was perimenopausal in my 20s or early 30s. So I was like, okay, maybe that's what it is. And I believed that. And I went about, but it just was not getting sorted. And eventually it was like, let's just go in and kind of take a look at it. And then my doctor said, oh my God, this is what we found. So once that had happened, and at that point of time, he said, oh, I've got it all out. And then said, just for, just for precaution, let's do a scan and all of that. So we go for a scan, and at the scan, they say, you know, there might be something on the liver. It could just be a shadow. Just to be on the safer side, we'll do a PET scan. And my husband was like, dude, we went through all this, and you know, eventually you found a malignancy which you've taken up. Now, unless I'm sure about it, I'm not letting this go. And so it was actually his persistence. He was like, no, I want a clear chit. Until then, I want to do every test possible. So he was just persistent about it. So we went for the PET scan, and I remember our family physician being there with us. And I do my PET scan, and I come out, and it takes really long. And I'm like, you know, was I sleeping? Because I had just come out of that procedure earlier, and then we had gone into it. So, you know, because I'd been under general, was I sleepy? And so I thought the time was more, or was it a long time? And they said, no, it was not really that long a time. I said, you know what? Maybe I fell asleep. It felt like really long time. And I looked at their faces, and you know, their faces were white, like literally white. And I looked at their faces and, you know, you guys are hiding something. What's the matter? And my doctor, you know, he's been a family doctor. He knows us so much. And, you know, he was like, he couldn't speak. He was so affected. And, you know, my husband just kept looking at me, and he was just like, I mean, you know, I knew he was trying to, I said, what is it? Okay, it's bad. So what is it? It's not gone yet. But eventually what we realized was, he said, it's not just gone, but it was like, he said, you know, Sonali, your insides were like a Christmas tree. It was like fairy lights inside when you did the PET scan, because so much had lit up, tiny, tiny, tiny specks had lit up. It was like a Christmas tree inside. That was the description I will never forget. And so we got out of there, and we took some appointments with doctors. And by then, I think my husband was already reaching a point where he was like, we've missed it for so long. And, you know, then because it was supposed to be a precautionary CT scan, it was supposed to be a precautionary PET scan. And then when so much came out, he said, hello, this is it. He just wanted to shut everything down. And while we were meeting the doctors, he had already called the travel agent. He spoke to another friend. He went on the site, and he said, and I was so upset with him at that point of time. I remember, like, literally in 3 days' time, I was on a flight out of the country. We didn't know where we would be staying, nothing. We had just got an appointment, and we were just going, like literally just going. And I remember fighting with him through the thing that, you know, you're just overreacting. The whole house, I just left everything like that. The child is on a, you know, on a summer camp, and you know, we've just left, and you know, everything. He said, I will organize everything. You just have to let's just go. And I said, you know, we have doctors here, and what is this behavior? I mean, you know, like, I was really upset with him for just dragging me off without giving me time to kind of wait. We go there, we meet the doctors, and he says that, listen, there's 30% chance of survival. I'm going to try my best, but I'm not going to give you any this thing. And I was so irritated with him for talking to me like that. And he's like, listen, I need to tell you what it is. We are going to do this, but these are the chances that we're going to try this. And for a second, I was livid. Then I said, okay, understood. And he said, so we had done that. He said, just give me a day and a half. By the time from here, my husband had sent all my tests, and thank God for technology, and he's great with it. So he had already sent most of the tests. He had told the doctor that we were going to. He said, you know, I don't know the doctors there. I want you to be responsible. So you get the team ready, so that I don't want confusion once we get there. And I don't want it to be like, I didn't know this doctor, I don't know that. Who are you comfortable with? You form the team, and then you be responsible for it, is what he told my surgeon. When we went there, my surgeon said, we cannot, it's so spread out, I cannot do a surgery, and definitely not a robotic surgery. You have to go to an oncologist, and let's hope we can contain it. And if we can contain it, then I can think of a surgery, but I cannot guarantee you a surgery at this point of time. So then he said, just give me that 1.5 day, literally 2 days to get this, 1.5 day actually, yeah. 1 day in between, the next day, they had got things ready. And I said, you know, maybe just give me 2 days, 2-3 days, so that let's figure out where we are staying and all that. And my husband was like, no, doc, what is the earliest? And he said, day after tomorrow, I need tomorrow's day after tomorrow we can start. And I said, but why are we hurrying? And the doctor said that, you know, the way this is spreading, and we don't know where all this is. And, you know, the faster we start, the better it is. And I would not, if I could, I would put you in chemotherapy today evening, if I could. but I can't. I need certain tests before I can do this. So if I had these tests, I would just now I wouldn't let you go. I would send you to the hospital and get you started on chemo. That kind of an urgency. I said, okay, I got it. So then we get out, and now we're looking for apartments. And I said that I'm not going to stay in this hole of a room alone. I'm going to come with you. So I went and I went with my husband, and we were looking for apartments. And when we came back, I realized that I had done at least 10 kilometers that day of walking. And I said, you know what, if I can walk so much, and if I have the thing, there is something in me. I said, however bad it is, I think I'm meant to live, and I'm not going to let this go. And it was more like, what am I doing? How am I going to face this? I went through the little bit of self-pity and why is this happening to me and what is happening and all of that. And, that night, though I was exhausted, I couldn't sleep. Of course, my husband was so exhausted, poor thing. By the end of it, he was fast asleep, and I sat in the window, seen the sun coming up. And I said, you know what, this is it. I'm never going to feel bad for myself. I've had this opportunity. I have had a spouse who has been so supportive that he's got me here. He's put me into treatment so quickly. I have the capacity to be able to get treatment from the best places in the world. I said, I'm going to count my blessings rather than sit here and go into self-pity and say, why me? That is it. This is it. After this, I accept what it is. Maybe I'm supposed to learn something from it. And I saw the sun rising, and I said, okay, let me see how this day goes, and I will deal with it one day at a time. And I said, here, the sun is on. Let's just switch the sunshine on. And sitting there, this came on, and I said, I wrote to my team. I said, it's going to be one day at a time, and switch on the sunshine. And this is what is going to be my motto, and I'm going to follow. These are going to be my mantras, and I'm going to follow this through. That's how it began. And
amazing, both of you. I mean, whenever I have spoken, Pratichee has spoken to multiple times in earlier as well on a one-on-one, but both of you are just amazingly full of positivity. I have to say that this is that energy that both of you are radiating is literally just coming out of the screen. I know that at the moment you've seen that report, or you've seen your family's face or that reaction. I know that this is probably not what you were thinking at that moment. At that moment, no one thinks I'm going to fight. At that moment, the first thing is like, I'm sorry, but shit, I'm going to die. That's the thought that most people get.
You know what? I never felt I was going to die.
Thank goodness, really.
I was angry. I was upset. But even now, when I look back, even at the point when he said that this has been out, I wanted to believe my doctor that, okay, this is out. Life goes on. And every time they said, it's a shadow on the liver. Okay, it's a shadow on the liver. It's just the PET scan is just we're just being careful. So that kept happening. And, those 2 days when after the PET scan, when they said this is how it's spread all over, etc., etc., I would wake up in the night thinking it's a dream and it's going to go away. And then when you wake up in the morning and it's not really gone away. But then you are so busy planning and doing things and organizing and all of that. And I think also somewhere it was very strange because I actually, I think I had the best sense of humor during that time. I have laughed through it so much. And
but it's so important to have a sense of humor at that point of time.
Pratichee has been able to laugh through this.
That's the only thing that finally gets you through it.
Absolutely.
You have to have a sense of humor. And I say this to everyone now. I said, I am at a point right now where I can crack jokes on cancer because I have a dark sense of humor sometimes. And I'm like, I can get away with it. So please just bear with me. I'm allowed.
Yeah.
And that is in no way trying to undermine the seriousness of it. It is just to tell that there is a way to fight it. And like Sonali said, it's about just keeping that positive frame of mind. And and I'm just like, and it's very unique to everyone with how everyone's experiences actually unfold, because when I hear your stories, there are parts of what you tell me that which resonate with me. And there are parts which when I'm listening to you right now talk, I'm like, wow, like, it's everyone's story so unique
Yeah.
to themselves. Like you learn so much from that. And I was like, because there were parts and there were times when I was going through it, I was like that why me, that little
Yeah.
self did come, it was there for a bit. But then there was also a part of me which was like, if it's my time to go now, it's my time to go.
Yeah.
I also had that in my head. I was like, if it's my time, it's my time. I am not scared. And the biggest thing that, you try and put up this front of bravery, and people keep, like patting you on the back for like, wow, you've been so brave.
Yeah.
I want to basically say, yes, you have to have a positive will and you need to be brave, yes. But it also comes from the fact that I don't want to see my parents or my family or my husband or my friends sad. And for their sake, I will be brave. So that's what is very important.
I understand that. For me, it was like I just said that my son was 12 at that point of time, and I said, you know what, it's too young. I need to be there. And I literally said that, till he's 18 or whatever, I don't think he's ready and independent and ready for the world. And that did change the way I kind of started looking at and parenting after that. Because after that, my whole focus has been on getting him independent. And it's literally like, um, you know what, even today, my mother turned 80 now. And, my father has turned 87. And uh, a parent is always very dear at whatever stage. So I'm not saying that he's never going to need a parent, or we all need our parents, but he's old enough now, and I'm okay. He will be okay. But at that point, I was not sure if he will be okay, and I needed that little time more with him before he would be okay. And so I think I was totally driven by that. And that was something that did, and I held on to that. And I think what happens is that all of us can find something, that one thing that you can hold on to. And I think it's the point is to identify and want that, and to want to hold on
Yeah.
to that, and
Yeah.
kind of go from that position.
So this, you can say that this connection with your family or your son, or that kind of motivated you to probably get better much faster, yourself internally. Pratichee, what was it with you? I think you needed some help in healing, right? I
No,
mean,
like I said,
what did you turn to?
no, what I'm trying to say is, you put up this brave front only because you don't want to see the pain in your family members, in the near dear ones. I'm lucky, and I won't say lucky, but it was a choice that I don't have like a child that I had to worry about. So I can understand where Sonali is coming from, because
Absolutely.
being a
Yeah.
mother is a different, like you're on a pedestal for that. And I don't have kids, so I do not have that responsibility,
Yeah.
of having to worry about a child. I only literally had to only worry about myself. Like I said, I was blessed, and I can't thank God enough for that. Like I said, every story is so unique to everyone, that and it's so nice to hear and share, because we pick small things from each
Yeah.
story, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's so important in evolving as the person that we are today. And so when things unfolded, not once but literally now thrice actually, because there was breast cancer and then the liposarcoma came back, my after a point you start feeling numb also. You're like, what the hell, it does cross your mind, like, why me? But then I was like, nahi, ek baar kiya hai, bloody hell, फिर से करेंगे, we'll fight this. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but we'll deal with this. And I, like I said, I can't thank my support system enough. Because it's okay. Yes, you have the medical fraternity and this and the medical, backing to fight the science of it. But there is something which is spiritual that you need with your family, and that is really important. And we don't give that enough credit, I feel sometimes. And it's so important to the person that we are today, to how we exist from a on a daily basis, so yeah, so I can't be more grateful and more yeah, just so grateful that to have them with me. Yeah.
Tell us, Pratichee, I've been seeing some beautiful art of yours that you've been creating. Is that is a healing mechanism? Is it something that you were always doing, or is it a new thing that you developed
Two,
later?
kind of mixed up. So I used to always sketch and paint growing up, and I'm from an IFT. So I used to be actually technically, as per my education, I should be a designer, which I
Yeah.
kind of left behind and I pursued music instead. Um, and it was last year, and by the way, Sonali, that's thanks to Natasha, by the way, that I got back into my painting, thanks to her. And she always knew that I painted, and she gave me this whole box of painting paints and canvas and pencils and all of that. And I was home with my parents for a month. I just happened to be there for a month, and I said, okay, let me start doing it. And when I started painting, I was going through a bit of a tumultuous time in my head, and it was just so calming. It became therapeutic for me, because it was that motion of continuously trying to create. It was just calming me down. So that's something that I have been doing, and it was not with the intention of trying to heal from something. It was just serendipity. It just happened to me, and I can't advocate it enough. Like, if you have any sort of thing that you love, and this goes for everyone. Like, I know, Sonali, you read a lot. And
Yeah.
whenever I'm part of your
Yeah.
book club, by the way, on
Yeah,
Facebook.
so am I.
Yeah, and
Yeah. That's also, Lavina, thanks to Bhavna, your mom.
Bhavna. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
so
so in an amazing way, and she's like a very integral part of the book.
Yeah,
all these are so important.
so proud.
And growing up, I used to read so much, and that kind of got left behind, because this life in Mumbai is such a hustle sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, it is.
It's such a
It is.
Okay.
constant hustle.
It is.
So you whatever you love, you need to catch on and hang on to it, because that really keeps you sane and in a
Yeah,
positive space of mind.
yeah.
It's very important.
I think it's very easy to otherwise, slide into the other side.
Yeah, you start going,
It's not,
oh,
it's
mere saath
very,
kyun
yeah,
hua,
correct,
yaar
correct.
wo bhi kaun, you know.
It's very easy to kind of go into that direction. But both of you, I have one question to ask both of you all. If there is one significant change that you've seen in yourself pre and post, what would that be? Pratichee, tell me. Is
I'm
there
calmer.
anything
I'm
you
a
are?
calmer person today. I probably was way more impatient earlier. Yeah, I am calmer, right? And like I just said it some time back about the hustle part, that because we don't realize how our work, our careers become part of our existence, and
Yeah,
that's not all that defines you, you know.
yeah,
So that's one part of me which has kind of like eased out, which that need to, where is my next show coming, where is that next person calling me for the next job. And so I've become calmer about things. So I think that's one of my biggest learning. And uh, and how a cliche it might sound, basically to take one day at a time. Like, that's my literally my WhatsApp status also, like, one step each
yeah,
day, like,
it
kind of
is.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sonali,
Uh,
I'm sure many lessons or learnings from this, but is there a change that you see has happened in you? Is there something that has specifically changed you as a person?
well, I think the beautiful part of this, I mean, it sounds ironic that I'm saying, but the beautiful part about this illness and the journey that I went through with it, which was painful, and it has all those side effects to it, because the thing is that sometimes you feel that more than the disease, the treatment that you have to go through is so hard that it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
scarier. And that's why, Pratichee, it's amazing that you've gone through it the second time. And the scary part is the treatment, actually, where there are times when you feel that, just go through the bloody disease and finish it off rather than having to go through that treatment, which takes so much out of you. Um, But the thing is that that one moment, and which, I'm sure it happens to anybody who has gone through this kind of a moment, when you realize when the time that you have can suddenly becomes limited. There's a heightened sense of awareness, mindfulness, and clarity that comes in as to what you want. And the lesson for me is to try and hold on to that, because as time passes, you start falling back into old patterns, and you start
Yeah.
and sometimes you start feeling that maybe I'm over imagining it, but it's not. That clarity, that kind of the appreciation for everything, I feel all your senses are kind of heightened. The smells are better, the colors are more beautiful, and everything is
Food is tastier.
everything. So the conversations, the meeting of people, meeting new people suddenly takes on, like, you want to soak everything in right at that minute, because you don't know if you'll meet them again. So you want to get everything out of it in that minute. So in that sense of living fully is something that kind of became clear to me in that moment. And that is something I'm trying to hold on. I mean, there are times when I fall back into old patterns, and then I kind of, take that step back, and I tell myself that, hey, remember, this is not what it was. And, just kind of try and hold on to that clarity that you had felt, that feeling, that mindfulness, the joyfulness, that wanting to live every minute, that wanting to make most of it. And that's why I keep saying that I don't want to be a survivor. I want to be a thriver. I want to thrive. I don't want to just survive. So, and that, I think, is the lesson that I took from that period of my life.
Amazing. Really, really, really positive you two are. It's like beyond me how you all can be so shiny, happy, and smiley. It's literally
Lavina,
beyond me.
I want
guys.
to interject here, because everyone tells, I don't know how you're so positive. I'm telling you, all of us, and I say all of us, have the strength in us. And if you are put in that situation, I'm telling you, I can like blindly say it, all of us will fight it. I
Yeah,
truly
I
believe
agree.
about humans. I believe that about people.
I agree. You're completely second.
Yeah. So in my house, my mom, I lost my mom to breast cancer.
So sorry.
She was, but she was detected stage 4, and she was already 72 plus years of age at the time she was detected. It was just a couple of years, and she tried chemo, she tried everything, and it just, for whatever reason, I mean, maybe age, she could not kind of come out of that. So I want to both of y'all, I want to ask you one thing. What is it that you want to tell primary caretakers or caregivers or family members of someone who's diagnosed with cancer? So, I mean, when I knew, obviously the first thing I'll say, no, ma, it's going to be okay. That was obviously my first reaction. But gut feeling inside, I knew that it's not going to be okay. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very hard. I remember my mom walking into her doctor's clinic, and the doctor saying that we cannot do surgery. She actually smiled. She smiled because she did not want to go through surgery. She did not at that moment gauge that he's saying that we can't do anything for so I understood that. Obviously my sister understood that. We knew that what he's trying to say, and he said, you don't really need to come here anymore, because there is nothing more we can do for you, and we're not going through with a surgery. And that's it. She went home, and then it took her a little while, or maybe, again, like Pratichee said, she wanted to be brave for us, probably. But what would you tell family members? How should they be? Should they be supportive? Should they be motivating? What is it that they should be doing to help a patient in their family, a close person, like a child or a husband or a spouse or wife? Anyone. What should they be doing? Pratichee?
I think supporting is the best word to describe it. See, and I'm speaking from the fact that I was a patient. Honestly speaking, I would never want to be that family member who is actually seeing somebody in pain. So actually, it's a little tough question to answer, actually. Because I can only speak from the fact that my family was extremely supportive, and everybody was with that with the notion that we will fight this, that was their uh, only, I think so, game plan. There was no other game plan.
Yeah.
The game plan was that we are going to tackle this, we are going to fight it. Like my dad has, like, we will like vanquish this illness. Like my dad, like he's a Navy guy, he's a defense officer. So he was like, isko to main maar dunga types and all that. Nothing will happen to my little kid because I'm like his little pet. So so I think so, and like everyone in the family was with the mindset that we are like, my mom was very stoic, she didn't let anything on. She just, as if she didn't want to, like show the kind of fear or anxiety, or I think she just became very stoic in the whole thing. And I remember watching, and I knew that what was going on in her head. You could tell. So, everybody dealt with it very differently, but yet the core energy was, we are going to just annihilate
Slay this.
Yeah, we are going to slay this. Yeah.
Sonali, how did you had to break this to your son? I think you had to tell your son, obviously. So how was that very difficult? How did he take it? I mean,
A couple of things on this, I would say, because uh, when I was working, and I was on TV at the point when I discovered this, and I was in the middle of a show, and which means I would disappear from it. So the idea was to put it out, to say that this is what I'm going through, and I'm going to take some time out to deal with it. And the idea was to do that and to go and get ready, and just kind of, rather than having speculation and people writing all kinds of things about it, straight from the horse's mouth, that this is what I'm going through, this is what it is. Let's not gossip about it. I don't want my son getting to, or my parents, with the internet and the way the world is today, I don't want them hearing it from various people, and I don't want gossip about it. So the idea was to put it out for that reason. But what happened was that the response that we got from it, and what we realized was that basically, in a nutshell, we had got response from every strata of society, from cities to villages to NRIs to whatever, you say it, and we've got a response from there, in various languages. And what we realized was that, and it was an eye-opener, that this is something that affects all stratas of society. And I thought it was so unique. And till then, I was still thinking that, this doesn't happen so often. And I was like, after being exposed, after being educated, I still felt that this can't happen to me. This doesn't happen to too many people. And what I realized was that this is very common. And this happens to a lot of people. And everybody mostly had somebody that they knew in their family or in their friend who had gone through it. I said, if so many people have gone through it, why is it that I didn't know about it? And then you realize that people don't talk about it. And then it was like, why don't they talk about it? And then you realize that there's a stigma attached to it. Now, I don't know why that stigma is, but if it can be a genetic thing, then, that could be the reason why it is a stigma in our society, that, you don't want society to know about it, because it can be a thing that, in this family, this disease is there. Maybe that's my speculation. Maybe that is the reason. But whatever it was, people have been hiding it. Now, one was, then you realize that people have been hiding it. And what I realized was that because they were hiding it, there were daughters who hadn't told their mothers why they hadn't visited them through the chemo while the hair is gone and stuff like that. Mothers who haven't shared it with their children. Now, mother thinks the daughter is ignoring her and has become too busy with her life, and there is that sort of negativity going on. The mother who's hiding it from the child is seeing that the child feels that I've done something, my mother is upset with me and is not talking. Because see, all human beings get that there is something not right, and then everybody's jumping to their own conclusion. And on the third aspect of it is because you're not telling everybody, you're not getting the support that you could have got had you told people who love you and who would want to support you. And which is what I got. My friends came in, and like they all dropped their holidays, they came in across the continent literally, and the rest of them who were here kind of moved in, and my sisters came to me, my sisters-in-laws came to me, and they all went around my parents and my mother-in-law. Everybody kind of formed a circle around them. And that kind of support, had I not shared it, had I hidden it, I would have never got that kind of support. Now, for me as a patient, my mental state was so much better because I was getting all this love and the affection, and the fact that so much of my stress that I would be worried about my mother or my son was just being taken away because there were so many people ready to help you with it. So hiding it was taking, you wouldn't be getting that support system, which was so important for your state of mind, and a state of mind that is so important for your well-being. And so that was when I decided that I would share this journey, and I didn't want it to be the worst part of it. I mean, it's horrendous when you see what happens in the hospital, the aches and pains, and when what is going through. So I didn't want to show the horror part of it in that sense, but I didn't want to cut the, I didn't want to gloss over it also. So I wanted it to be truthful while be saying that, yes, it is horrible and I am today low, but you know what, I'm working towards getting okay. And so I was taking it through that part of the process, that whatever you put out, and I would see to it that there was something that I could be positive about at the end of it. I didn't want it to be a dragging thing. And then I have to say, there were some people who did come around who said that, is it the publicity out of it that you keep putting it out? I was asked that, and I felt that, shit, is this what it is considered that I'm doing this? I mean, it is so sad. I mean, that's not what it is, but that's not what I was feeling. And I remember at that point of time, my husband sending me a cutting, because he had come here with my son's school had started, and he had come back, and my sister was there with me, and he'd come back and he sent me a cutting. I think it was in one of the financial papers, and it was the headline was that how the testing for cancer or the testing rate had literally gone up 10 times, that it was in the financial newspaper that the testing had gone up and the conversation. And my husband said that, don't care about what anybody else is saying. This is what you have done, and this is the conversation you've started. What you are a public person, and if people are going to listen to you, you need to use your voice to talk about what is important. Just shut those voices out. It doesn't matter if they think you're doing it for publicity, because for the people who matter, it is helping. And it is true. So many women went and started getting tested and started taking it, be it your mammograms, be it your pap smears, be it anything else. The testing became so much more important, and so many went through. And today I'm in my 5th year of recovery, and I have so many women who have come to me and told me, in 2018, when I heard yours, I just went in for a checkup and I found at first stage, I found at second stage, and they're all doing well today. And so many of them have because they detected it early, are okay. And I have had so many people coming and telling me, because you spoke about it, I went for that checkup. So that is what was the conversation. This is what, and I think that support system, when we talk about, this is all a support system, be it your social media, this is all a support system. Now, the second part of support system is your primary caregivers. And that is the people who are day in and day out around the patient. And that, I feel, is a different zone altogether. Because you know what, somewhere as a patient, I'm getting the attention. But what that primary caregiver is going through, it can be 1, 2, 3 people in shifts, they could be doing it. But what they are going through, because they are in the background, in that sense, because the attention is on the patient. But there's a lot of trauma that they are going through. And so the beautiful thing is that we talk about patients needing counseling, but even more important than that is counseling for the primary caregivers. That's a huge, huge topic.
Yeah.
And it's something that needs to be addressed in a big way. And and I saw that in the hospitals that I was in. There were counseling sessions for the primary caregivers. And these are the things that we need to get in. I understand that we have our doctors are amazing. We have the system, but we have so many of us in the country. And till recently, you went to one oncologist. He's the best in the country. But you know what I must understand is that every cancer is different. It's like when you have a breast cancer, and if you're just going to, and if you're going to somebody who specializes in brain cancer, and it's basically like literally you have a heart problem and you're going to a gastroenterologist, or you have a gastric problem and you're going to a cardiologist. It's as different as that. And that's a doctor who's treating a certain kind of cancer day in and day out, their understanding of that is going to be different, because they are seeing that particular kind of cancer in different people through so many years, so, and that is important to understand. And important, just because somebody went with some cancer to some doctor and said that, oh, this is the best, doesn't mean that's the same doctor for you. So people need to do that research and to understand what kind of cancer do I have. does this work for me? And the other thing is that when I talk about, we spoke about this earlier, Western medicine is about tests and that coming through. So that means second opinion, third opinion is very important. Why should you not take it? And it doesn't take away from it, from anything. It doesn't mean you don't trust someone, because you know what, it's your life. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to give you a medal for trusting somebody. So what I have understood is that eventually everybody is a human being, and human beings can make mistakes. So just taking care of yourself, you just go through that second opinion and a third opinion and understand what it is as much as a layman can understand, and say, okay, and take an informed decision on what your treatment should be.
I want to add just one thing to what Sonali just said. When finally you identify your team and your set of doctors who is going to finally, treat you, who's going to finally be part of your recovery, once you have made that decision, it's very easy because we have access to so much of information thanks to the internet today. We have a tendency to start going and researching our symptoms and the kind of the whatever your your tumor is. Let's say, for example, let's say I've been diagnosed with, like, the liposarcoma the first time round, and and when you just get to hear that one word, we have this tendency nowadays to go and find answers on Wikipedia. And that's the worst thing you can do. Once you've identified your team, your doctor, please trust them enough. I know I've spoken in the beginning where they dropped the ball, but point is, once you have decided, let them do their job. Don't do this extra research. You're not a doctor. Because whatever you will find on the internet is specific and unique to that specific patient they're talking about. It will not probably, it will not relate and interpret to your condition. Because when you start reading these things, it starts affecting your mind and your state of being, where you're saying, oh my God, ye bhi hoega, ye bhi hoga. Is this what I'm going to go through? And that's not at all a very positive way to finally deal with it. So that's one of my recommendations to people who are going through it. Once you've identified your set of doctors, your oncologist, your hospital, please leave it to the experts. Be a good patient. That's all you need to be. Be a good patient. Let them do their job. Yeah.
I mean, that what you said is so true, that like we said that maybe it was detected later for me, and like you said, you had the issue with it. But the fact is that today we are sitting here because there were a set of good doctors that saw us through. So that
big claps for them. Really huge applause for the medical support that we have. Anyway, thank you so much, both of you. I think we've kind of gone over our time with both of you. I'm sorry to have hogged your little bit extra of your schedules for today. But thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to both of you. And I literally feel like if one person who's watched this goes out and gets themselves screened, I think that all this would have been worth it for me. If one person goes out and actually does a screening.
I agree.
Absolutely. So that was our whole objective of bringing both of you amazing people here, just to inspire that next person to go out, get screened, and be there. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lavina. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
And Sonali, it was lovely meeting you.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Lovely meeting you. Thank you so much for having me, and hope to see you.
Thank you. Wish you a very, very happy life, and may the sun keep shining and shining and shining on for both of you.
And happy Diwali in advance.
Happy Diwali in advance.
Diwali to all, both of you too, and hope to see you both soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
All right. That was a very, very insightful conversation with Sonali and Pratichee. But we are not done yet. This morning when I had kind of put this out that we're doing this conversation, a friend of ours from the industry reached out to me and said that they were struggling a little bit with, with the medical support system here that they need. So I'd like to, take this opportunity, since we are online, we are live, and we do have an audience. I want to introduce Imran and Arshad. Many of you know them. Imran is the founder of Reset Live. You must have definitely seen a lot of his work or attended some of the events he's been, but they're currently going through a situation at the moment that we'd like to talk about. So welcome, Imran and Arshad. Can we
Hi,
have them on
hi,
screen,
hi,
please?
good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Hi.
Good evening,
Uh,
Lavina. Hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
hi. Good to have you both here, but also not good, in a way. So, Imran, tell me a little bit. We were talking about your brother this morning, and
Yes.
tell us a little bit about, give us a little background of what's happened and why
Yes.
you're here today.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity, and it's a great initiative, Lavina. I hope I get some solution out of this situation. So, a few months back, like 2 months back, my brother was in town. He works in Kuwait. So he was not feeling well, and he came over here, and he was starting feeling very low in energy and a lot of fatigue. And when I met him, he was looking a little pale to me. And the second day only, he got a bit dizzy, and he was feeling very unwell. So I insisted that he goes for a blood test, and that's when a slight blood count issue was there, which was like a little critical. So we went for more tests, and then we got to know that he's got MDS, which is the early stage of blood cancer. It's a very rare condition to have at a young age. He's like 47, 46, I think. So we started going for doctors, and there are only two hospitals in Mumbai. One is Tata Parel, and the other is CMD Vashi. That is also a Tata Institute specifically for blood cancer treatment. And both of them, because he's at a very early stage, they have asked us to come after 1 year, and then only they'll, because there's so many extreme cases now, and the only cure of MDS is not through a surgery, not through chemo. You can only do a bone marrow transplant, which is also called stem transplant, and that's the only way out. So I mean to get a bone marrow transplant, because there is not much data available of people, because people do not put their bone marrow transplant in the government data, and then we can track those person. Usually it gets a sibling will have a match, but unfortunately me and Arshad both are HLA match is 50% only.
Okay.
And for a bone marrow we need 100% match, and it's so difficult to find. We have approached NGOs online, we have tried, so there is no data available. So to get bone marrow who's outside the family, it's very difficult. There is available, but it's only how do we track that person and go and approach.
Right.
So
So
that's
the
where we are. Yeah, sure. You want to
yeah,
talk?
so the major problem that we face in India when we try to search a donor is that many people are not aware. People don't attend into this drives where they participate in bone marrow donation and
Yeah.
they become a participant. So there is a huge lack of awareness. So
Yeah.
that's the bigger problem in India, because everywhere we go, then the waiting period is 9 months, a year, and to get the bone marrow from world donor, it's thrice expensive. So
Yeah.
what treatment which can be done in a cost of 15-20 lakh goes up to 60-70 lakhs
Right.
if we get the donor from outside. So that is
Right.
a major problem we are facing now. We're trying to connect to people through this platform. If we are able to connect to people who can help us get the donors. So what maximum I got from the people I got connected to is 8-on-10 match, but we need a 10-on-10 match.
Match.
Can I ask you, what is the procedure to get this match? What
So
is
yeah,
the
so yeah,
test
so
that someone needs to do?
so my brother and we all of us have done HLA typing. It's called HLA typing.
Okay.
So there are drives which are happening where NGOs are helping us do the drives for patients and all, where people can come and join in and they can get their marrows testing done. So
Okay.
it's not a very complicated and a life-threatening procedure. It's just like blood donation. So
Okay.
people are
Okay.
kind of afraid when they talk about
That's
blood,
that's
bone
also
marrow
again a
donation.
yeah, that's again a problem because the people have this myth that if I give my bone marrow, I will have some problem.
It's
That's
not
not the
like you're
case.
doing a lung transplant or a kidney transplant. I mean,
Yeah,
people
Yeah,
get
yeah,
back on track in 2 3 weeks. There are counselors who talk about it. There are doctors
right.
on donation camp when they go and do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, for
So
our thing is major concern is to get the donor. I mean the time is always short when you are facing a
yes,
cancer.
It's like the clock is
absolutely.
ticking, and we are like running against time to kind of find a donor now. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is like literally, from our side, this is like an open appeal to everyone who's watching this, who is going to watch this video over the next few days or weeks. If I am going to add in Imran and Arshad's contact details in my next communications on this. But if there is anyone who is connected to someone who can be a donor or who knows or who
a
can
source,
help in
a reliable
a
source.
source, any reliable source in any form of way, please do
Yes,
reach out to us. You can reach out to me at any time. You can reach out to Arshad. You can reach out to Imran. Imran, maybe you just want to say your phone number here right now so I can, so that
yeah,
that can just be there.
yes,
Just, say it out.
you
sure,
can type in the message box.
yes.
Because
Anyways, you
I'll also
can.
say it.
Yeah, everyone who's hearing, you can reach out to me on 99200288596. I repeat, it's 99200288596. Reach
Yeah.
me anytime. We are also going to put on social media our brother's HLA report. So if that helps to kind of track a donor, or if there is any NGO or any source who can help us, we'll be very grateful and thankful.
Yeah.
Yep,
I do hope that this works out, and God bless, yeah, both of you. I mean, I hope that we can just somewhere reach one person. We just need that one right match. That's what it is.
absolutely.
We just need that one
Yes.
right match. All right. Thank you so much,
Okay.
both of you, for
Thank you,
coming,
Lavina.
and
Thank you
I
everyone.
will
Thank
I
you.
will send this out. Thank you everyone for watching, for being with us. And from all this, there's only one very serious message that is coming out and that has come out, is that do not skip your screenings. Make sure you go for a screening at least once a year, if not more. Talk to your doctor, and the first thing you need to do, it doesn't matter how you feel, even if you're feeling extremely healthy, please go and just get yourself screened once a year at least. Thank you so much. And remember, early detection does save lives. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.